Well, folks, we are here with the finale of Game of Thrones, which is a very odd feeling. A show that has been one of my favourite shows of all time, that I've watched for several years now, finally coming to an end. Finally, we're getting the question of who will sit on the Iron Throne at the end of it all. It's just a short hour and a half away. Now, what I want to do is, before we get into the reaction this time around, I want to talk a little bit about last episode. I want to just go into a little bit more detail about my thoughts and, just talk about this season in general. If you just want to skip ahead to the reaction, that's absolutely fine. This is probably going to be a little bit of a longer intro than I normally, produce, so feel free. Now, again, I want to make it clear that I'm not someone who bashes on Game of Thrones for fun. I've never really had a criticism of the show up until this season. And certainly I'm not the type of person who jumps on the bandwagon and just bashes on stuff for fun. I'm certainly not the type of person who would sign a petition to get the show remade. That was the most ridiculous thing I think I ever read. That people had signed a petition, over 1 million people had signed a petition to get the final season remade. I mean, do they really expect that to happen? It's just not real. I think people just want to have a protest vote and show their unhappiness in a way that might actually get some, media attention rather than just tweeting it out and putting reviews up online. Now, as I say, up until the middle of this season, I didn't really have too much of a problem. The first 2 episodes I thought were pretty solid. The second episode I thought was one of my favourite episodes that I've seen. I absolutely loved the character interactions. I loved the build-up. Episode 3, The Battle of Winterfell, I had some issues with it, but I thought it was a well-done episode. Certainly, you had to admire just the sheer effort that had to go into that kind of an episode. And, I wasn't bothered by the fact that Arya was the one who got the kill. That really didn't bother me. Episode 4, for me, is where things started really going downhill. Again, pacing, character decisions, just people acting out of how you would expect them to act was an issue for me. And then just things moving forward and, things just not really making too much sense. That was a bit of an issue for me. And there was an element of people who also shared that point of view. It was an episode that kind of divided fans. Last episode divided fans even more so, to the point where I think it almost split the fandom apart. People were angry at the way the episode went. We saw Daenerys go full-on Mad Queen mode. We saw the Northmen, the Dothraki, the Unsullied sack the city. We saw the death of a lot of major characters, and people were pissed. And I think there's a justification to that. Now, I want to make it clear that I was not angry at the Daenerys situation because she turned Mad Queen. A lot of people put in the comments, oh, well, they've been foreshadowing this for years. You mustn't have been watching the show. It's like, it's not that I'm mad that they did it. I'm mad at the speed and the reason at which they did it. I can fully buy into Daenerys being a Mad Queen at some point, but for her to snap in the space of an episode really did not do it justice. I asked myself the question, at the beginning of episode 4, how would you have described Daenerys? You'd have described her as slightly mournful, but generally happy. They beat the army of the dead. She lost Jorah, and yes, it was sad, but she had King's Landing finally in her sights. She knew that she was going towards her final goal of getting that Iron Throne. And to then have that all within one episode, just from her to go to that, think of her sitting at that table at Winterfell at the beginning, and then her sitting on Drogon on the walls of King's Landing going mad. Didn't do it justice. That's something that needs an entire season to build up, not just like that, because some bells go off. It really did not do it justice, and that was my problem with it. I also had issues with how Cersei and Jaime died. I really didn't like the idea of someone who has been built up as being a major villain and has done some really heinous shit, dying by being crushed under the castle. I know that there's a certain sense of fanboyism that, it's basically trying to give the fans what they really want would be to just give her to, like, the dragon, just have the dragon eat her, or for her to be burned alive. And I know that can't always happen, but I felt like Cersei was someone that you really needs to give that payoff to. We really need to see her pay for the things that she did. I shouldn't be feeling sorry for someone like Cersei at the very, very end. Any other character, I would have been like, you know what, that was brilliantly done. They really made me feel sorry for her. Instead, I was sitting there thinking, why do I feel sorry for her? Why do I feel like I'd rather have Cersei on the throne than Daenerys? That's not the way I should be feeling. Don't get me wrong, there were some great points to the episode, Clegane Bowl, the score, the cinematography again was great. But again, just things like Euron suddenly showing up out of nowhere and fighting Jaime didn't make sense. There was no point in that. It was just a way to get rid of Euron. There was loads of stuff that I could sit here for ages and just try and pick at. But I do agree that the writing has kind of gone downhill this season, and they've kind of rushed it, and they really shouldn't have done. So I really want this last episode to do it justice and somehow give us a way to send this show off in style, because it deserves it so much. It really does deserve a great send-off. But there's about a minute to go until the episode starts, so I'm going to cut my intro here, even though I wanted to kind of go into a bit more detail. So, before we do, I want to say a big thank you to my Patreon super supporters, Olly Brown, Frank Tremel, TheLoneDetective, and Karen Abel. Thank you very much for your support on Patreon, guys. You can all find Patreon at the link below. So, let's jump into this and let's see what happens in the final episode of Game of Thrones. Right, for the last time, let's watch the intro. The greatest intro of all time. And I'm wondering what King's Landing's going to look like. Oh, man. Look at that. That's pretty messed up. I love the way that they've got the cogs all messed up, and look at that. If nothing else, you've got to appreciate the artistic vision that's gone into this show. I like that symbology. The lion is gone. The Red Keeper's not looking as healthy as it once did. Oh no, don't you dare.
In the name of the one true queen,
no.
Daenerys Targaryen, I sentence you to die.
Why are you killing prisoners?
It's over.
Yeah.
These men are prisoners.
It is not over until the queen's enemies are defeated.
How much more
Jesus
defeated do you want them
Christ.
to be? They're on their knees.
They are breathing.
Is he gonna let them die? Is he going to find Jaime's golden hand? Yeah. There's his hand. Oh no, I don't want to see their bodies. He knew that they'd probably go down there. It's a smart place to hide. Oh man, that is... You know what? That's a hell of a shot. That is a hell of a shot. The way they had the wings coming out. I like that. What? Oh shit, she's going full on. Well, domination. Half. She wants to be ruler of the world. 7 kingdoms isn't enough.
You committed treason.
Oh shit.
I freed my brother.
And now he's dead.
And you slaughtered his city.
Yeah. That's it. Give it back to her. Thank you, Tyrion. I stand with Tyrion here. Oh, shit. At what point do we say enough is enough?
I chose my fate. The people of King's Landing did not.
I can't justify what happened.
Don't you dare say she's my
I won't
queen.
try.
But she's my queen.
But the war is over now.
Did you not hear the speech?
When you heard her talking to her soldiers,
Yeah, John, come on, you're not this
did she
stupid.
sound like someone who's done fighting?
Oh, why are they writing John to be so stupid?
Saw her friend beheaded.
John, come on, please stop.
Shot out of the
And
sky.
she burned down a city for
I feel like John's the
Why,
interpretation
it's easy
of
to judge when you're standing far from the battlefield.
the writers trying to defend themselves.
What?
You've been up there, on a dragon's back. You've had that power. Would you have burned the city down?
I don't know.
Are we going to get to see the Iron Throne finally? Oh, shit. Oh, that was Drogon. Drogon was sleeping. Hello, Drogon. Well, the throne somehow survived. Everything else got fucked up. Do you remember the vision that you had? I love this music.
So many fallen enemies, you could only see the soles of Aegon's feet.
Now she seems
executing
happy.
Lannister prisoners in the street. They said they were acting on your orders.
It was necessary.
Necessary. Have you been down there? Have you seen children, little children burned?
Yeah, give it to her, John.
I tried to make peace with Cersei. And I was a little girl who couldn't count to 20. We do it together. We break the wheel together.
You are my queen. Now and always.
He did it. Is this really the way they're killing Daenerys? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You literally killed her in the space. Wow. Because if Drogon doesn't kill him, the Unsullied and the Dothraki sure as hell will. I just can't. I am in shock as to who thought this was a good idea for a story. Yeah, Drogon. She's dead. Oh man. I feel terrible for Drogon as well. Drogon's the real victim in all this. Is he seriously melting the Iron Throne? Is that for real? Are you kidding me? I have to laugh. 8 seasons of build-up. And just when you think you're going to get someone sitting on the Iron Throne, they burn it. It's like a final fuck you to all the fans. Hey, here's what we'll do. We'll turn Dany mad in the space of 1 episode. Then we'll have her killed in the space of 5 seconds. Then we'll burn the Iron Throne. Fuck you lot.